Well, hello again and welcome to the Laughter Crafter. You'll see I'm holding a painting. This is a painting of the Portland Head Lighthouse, which is a very famous lighthouse in Maine, in New England, in the USA. And I have fond memories of this lighthouse. We used to live in Maine in 98, 99, and we would travel down to the beautiful Maine coast, and especially would love to go and see this lighthouse. It's very, very beautiful and special. So much so that I decided to do my own slightly different rendition on a t-shirt, and that's what I'm wearing. So there you go, on this gorgeous yellow t-shirt. Yellow is my favorite color. And some clever person did this sketch, put it up on the internet, and so I've borrowed it. I don't know who did it, so I can't give them credit, but very clever them. So I just sketched it out, made it slightly different, and used an erasable pen, and I'll show you how to do that. And then these are the two things that I did to make this painting. Are you ready? Bleach and a fabric pen. So yeah, so when you see me doing this in the demonstration, you'll see me putting on bleach, but it didn't quite go to plan, and you'll see what I mean by that. So I pivoted and I used a fabric pen, and hey, I think I like the result. Remember, we don't go for perfection, we go for progress, and I think I'm progressing pretty well in the art department. How about you? I hope you have a go. Anyway, so here's my limerick for today. On my t-shirt's a picture that's bleachy, and the black ink just makes it look peachy. And it's yellow as well, which I think is just swell. So get ready, because now I get teachy. My limericks are getting sad, but funny, I hope. Anyway, I do have a joke for you before you leave me. So a duck went into the chemist and said, I'd really like to have a chapstick, please. So the chemist said, sure, that's $3, thanks. And the duck said, I'll just put it on my bill. Okay, on with the craft. So I've put everything together that I think I will need to make this bleach picture on this t-shirt. I've chosen this lovely yellow t-shirt. Yellow is my favorite color. In fact, I called my childhood memoir that I wrote Yellow. And if you ever read it, you'll understand why. So just using ordinary household bleach, and I'll use gloves, of course, to protect my hands. And in order to draw the bleach onto the t-shirt, I'm going to use a little applicator bottle. I bought this little pack of 3. I think they cost me about $2.99. And you just snip the end to the size of the hole that you want. So I'm going to make one with a tiny weeny tiny hole to make tiny dots, and the other one to draw thicker lines. In between the front and the back of the t-shirt, I'm going to put some foil just to protect the back of the t-shirt so the bleach doesn't go through to it. I'm going to draw my picture on with this water erasable pen. And if you've never used one, I use this all the time if I'm doing applique work on fabric or painting or whatever I'm doing. This is great because you just draw your design onto the fabric, and then if you make a mistake, you just dab the marks with a damp cloth and it comes straight off. So this is the picture I've decided that I will work with. It's sort of a lighthouse picture, and I think it's just lovely. It gives me memories of the time that we lived in Maine for a year, and we would go down to the Portland Head Lighthouse, and it was just lovely. So I'm going to do my own version of this picture, and instead of it being circular like that, I've decided I'll trace around this oval and make my picture a little bit different. So let's see how we go. Well, I've made a start a drawing on the picture, and I'm just sort of making a few changes to it as I go, just using my water erasable pen, and I haven't made any mistakes yet. But, you know, I may want to change something, in which case, as I said, I just grab a damp cloth and just sit it on the bits of pen that I want to get rid of, and it takes it straight off. And then you let it dry and you continue. So I'm going to continue right now in finishing this picture, and then we'll move on to the bleachy part. Okay, I think I've drawn most of this picture on. There's a few details that I will just go ahead and do when I'm doing the bleach. And so yeah, maybe I'll do another little tiny weeny bird up here in the sky. little bit of a distance away from these other ones so it's smaller. I love seagulls. So there we go. I think that's basically all I want to do on this. So I'm going to prepare the bleach now. So I'm ready to start with the bleaching. I'll put the bleach in this little bottle. And I've made a tiny, teeny hole up the top there. So because I'm right-handed, I'm going to be working from left to right, so I don't lean over my work. And here I go. I hope you can see. Actually, I might start up the top there because that's right underneath the camera. And I'm just going to very carefully apply this bleach. In my experience doing these bleach pictures, you don't really see the effect of the bleaching for a little while. At the moment it just sort of looks, well, red actually. So I'm just going to continue on here. It looks a little bit like it's bled a little bit, and that's kind of probably the nature of this t-shirt fabric. So not really the result I was expecting, but you know what? I don't go for perfection. I'm going to work with it. So I put down the little squeezy bottle and I put some bleach in this lid, and I've got a regular sewing needle. I'm using the eye end, not the pointy end, and I'm just going to see if this works, because this will be a lot smaller and daintier than the what was coming out of the bottle, and I'm just going to try and make some little dots to sort of signify some shading. Yeah, that seems to be working okay. I'm just going to, I can still see my blue line from the erasable textile. So I'm just putting some teeny tiny dots using this needle, and I'm going to continue to do this and see if I can get some sort of light and shade happening in this picture. I have got an idea for what I'm going to do to make this more clear, because at the moment it looks like, you know, a bit of an autopsy, which isn't what I was going for. But as I say, it's not finished yet, so let's push on. So this bleach is all dry now, and it's kind of very smudgy, but I think what I'm going to do is go over those markings that are still there, still visible from the water erasable pen. I'm going to go over them, I think, with a Posca pen, a fabric marker in this case actually, and see what happens. You know, what's the worst that can happen? It looks quite smudgy, but I think it's going to come up quite good. So I'm just going to get my fabric marker and just go over these lines like so. And I'll just keep working on this, and I'll see you in a little while. Well, I think it's finished. I've used the fabric pen, which had a very fine tip, and I've made lots of shading. You'll see that I've used different shading techniques. I've used stippling, which is the dots, and shading, for example, on this side of the tree, you can see the shading is marks are darker on that right hand side of the tree. That's because I figured that the light from the moonlight was coming from this direction, so that's why everything on the left hand side is lighter, and all the stippling and the shading and the cross hatching that you'll see on the little house is all on that shady side, the right hand side of everything. And I quite like what's happened with the bleach. The bleach has kind of given everything a halo effect. If I had just left the bleach, it would have been very difficult to see what the picture is. But that's why I decided to go back over the water erasable pen marks with the extra fine tip fabric marker. And there's lots of different brands of these that you can buy. But that's the one that I used for this. And so that's it finished. Hopefully you can see all of that, and if you look very carefully you'll see my little RGN. See my little signature, my RGN, over there in the corner. So I'm quite happy with that. What I need to do next is turn it inside out, and with a fairly warm iron, not super hot iron, I'm going to iron the back, in other words this inside of the t-shirt, just to heat set the fabric pen on there. So that's it finished. So how did you go doing your bleachy picture? I hope you had lots of fun. I'd love to see your pictures if you want to post them underneath the video, and let's all share your brilliance and your ideas. And if you've got better ways to do it than I did with the little squeezy bottle, show me, and I'd love to see that as well. Okay, I did mention at one point that yellow is my very all-time favorite color, so I had a lot of fun working on this beautiful yellow t-shirt. And I love yellow so much that when I wrote my childhood memoir, I named it yellow because it's such a happy color. And there's me as a little kid. Wasn't I so cute? Anyway, if you want to get a copy of this, you can just pop that in the comments underneath the video as well, and we'll make that happen. Okay, so you know what to do. Comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's get the crafty stuff happening, and let's get laughter happening as well. In the meantime, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.